Hey guys, what's up? I did a poll on my Instagram and asked if you guys would rather see a video about migraines or like a video about what it's really like in a mental hospital. And like over 70 of you guys said you wanted to see what it's like to be in a mental hospital. So I'm gonna do that video today, and then I'll do the migraine video next week. For this video, this is a trigger warning. I talk about depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, self-harm, being mentally like put in a hospital, stuff like that. So it is kind of a triggering video if you have any problems with that stuff. And it was like a triggering experience for me. Also, disclaimer is I am just telling my personal experience. This is not how it goes for everyone, obviously. I'm not gonna say like any names of any people. So if I say any names, they're made up. Like I'm gonna use like Susan and like Karen and stuff, like fake names. And then I'm also not gonna say the name of the hospital that I was in, just for like my privacy, their privacy, stuff like that. So yeah, I will start out and say that I have been I went to the same hospital, behavioral center for two different reasons. Well, no, same reasons, but one in 2016 and one in 2017, I believe. Yeah, sorry, I had to think about that. The first time I went, I was in PHP, which is partial hospitalization program, and I was there for 10 days. And then I was in IOP for 2 months. IOP is intensive outpatient therapy. And then the second time I went, I did go to inpatient, which is like where you live there, you know, you stay the night there, all that stuff. And then I actually didn't do PHP or IOP after that. So I think today I'm going to talk about really just my like being inpatient, being fully hospitalized, like what it's like being there, what it's like inside, and like my experiences and stuff. Yeah. So it was when I went inpatient, I think it was 2017. It was like my Thanksgiving break for school, and I went in and I was just not in a good place. You know, I've been depressed since I was 12. I've had anxiety my entire life, but I was in a really bad place. I had been self-harming, I was suicidal, I was just not in a good place at all. And so we talked to my therapist and my parents, and we decided that I should go to this behavioral health center and see what they recommended. And they had told me that they wanted me in inpatient. And honestly, that's really scary when that happens, when they say that we think you should be an inpatient. It's kind of up to them and your parents, because I was a minor at the time. So it's up to them and your parents of what is going to happen. And so they decided that I needed to go to inpatient, and just immediately from like the meeting, I was taken in to the hospital, like the live-in hospital area. And there's one for adolescents and adults. They're separated at all times, and they just took me straight to the adolescent ward. And my parents were like instructed to bring me clothes and stuff. But I was going to be living there. And honestly, for me, it was a terrifying experience. I was so anxious the entire time. I don't like being in new places. Like, I didn't want to be away from my parents. I felt like alone, and I was really scared, and like, I just really did not have a good experience there. It was very bad for my anxiety. Like, I was ridiculously anxious the entire time, and like, it was just a hard environment to be in, because everyone in there is so suicidal that they're like a danger to themselves, and so they're put in, or sometimes it's because people are homicidal, they're dangerous to others. And so it's a really like intense atmosphere. Like, it's really stressful. Like, people will be having breakdowns. People will be like, I'm saying what's happened in my experience. A girl had like a seizure and fell on me in my first hour, and I was like, okay. One kid tried to pick up a chair and throw it at someone else. The chairs are all like fake. They're like the lightest plastic ever, so like it can't really do much damage. I had a kid that was like banging his head against the wall. There was a girl who actually threatened to strangle me, which was really scary for me. They had to sedate her and put her in isolation. My roommate, just like she got a plastic bag somehow, and she had like hid it in the like little closet area that we had, and she was like gonna try to suffocate herself. And I told the guard, not the guards, but like, I don't remember what they're called. They're like, they just kind of like make sure we're okay. Like, they're called MCs in Eating Recovery Center. I don't really remember what they're called. They're not like therapists or anything. They're kind of like nurses, but they're just there to keep us safe. And so I told one of them, and then the girl was really, really mad at me because I didn't let her suffocate herself, and she threatened to strangle me, and then they had to put her under and put her in isolation. So that was, I did not feel safe there at all. It was really, really scary for me. I did not feel safe. I like had severe anxiety. Just like being in that atmosphere was hard because everyone was so suicidal, so negative, and a lot of people in there did not want to get better. Like, they just wanted to die. And it was hard because yes, I was suicidal, but I did want to get better, and that's why I went to this place. I went because I wanted to get better, and a lot of these people did not want to get better. They did not want to try. So like the first day, your parents can visit you for like an hour, I think. And so my parents came and visited me and brought me all my stuff, and I was like, dude, can you like take me out of here? And they were like, no, just stay a night, see if it gets better, and then we'll go from there. So I ended up spending 2 nights there, and then my parents pulled me out because that girl was starting to strangle me, and I did not feel safe, and it was just really detrimental. Just being in there, a large majority of the people were self-harming, had been self-harmed, and these people were desperate to harm themselves, desperate to try to kill themselves, and it was really like, it kind of like rubbed off on you being in that environment. Like, they would have like scars, and they would scratch at them and pick at them until they bled, and they would constantly just like keep going and trying to harm themselves, and it actually like made my skin itch. Like, I wanted to like start scratching like everyone else was doing, and it was like a really stressful time. Like, everyone was like on a high, like they were all strung up. Everyone was like really, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Everyone was just like desperate, I guess. Desperate? I don't know. It felt like they were desperate to harm themselves, desperate to kill themselves. And I really wanted to work on getting better and like becoming not suicidal and stuff. And really, the inpatient, all it is crisis aversion. So like, if anyone's a danger to themselves or others, they're put in inpatient. And inpatient, really, they didn't do much work on like the psychological, like they didn't really do a whole lot of like therapies and counseling and coping skills and stuff to try to like give people the tools to get better. It was just to keep them from harming themselves, keep them from harming others, for however long it took for them to be more stable. And then once you're an IOP, they start to like work on stuff. So it wasn't where I needed to be. I was suicidal, but I wasn't I was passively suicidal, which means like, I'm not going to actively do anything. Like, I'm not going to actively attempt or anything like that. But like inside, I just kind of was like, I want to die. So I really don't think that was the right place for me. Just because of like the way it was and how they weren't really working on like, how to like help yourself, coping skills, stuff like that. They were really just like crisis aversion. So yeah, it was not a good experience for me. I'm gonna kind of talk about a lot of the things that like things we couldn't have, and like things that you probably wouldn't even think about. It's like, yeah. So I'm going to kind of like talk about the stuff. Some of the stuff I did not even realize like they would do, but yeah, so I'm going to, starting out, no phones, no electronics, nothing like that. For clothing, you couldn't have any buttons, you couldn't have any zippers, you couldn't have any drawstrings. For shoes, no shoelaces, no straps, velcros, none of that. They had to be like slip-ons. No jewelry at all. No jewelry. I'm trying to think. That's about it clothes-wise. You can't have anything that could possibly harm yourself or others. So like silverware, we didn't have silverware. We'd get these plastic sporks when we ate, and then they would collect them all and count them to make sure that they had the right amount, and stuff like that. We couldn't have paper because people might give themselves paper cuts on purpose. So we did have like a couple sessions of like art therapy, but those were like closely watched by like 3 or so of the techs that were there. The techs are like the people that are like watching us, making sure we're safe and stuff. No pens, no pencils, because those could be harmful. We did markers only, to like color, if we were allowed to do that. There was like no playing cards, nothing like that. There was a TV. It was inside this plexiglass, kind of like casing, I guess, up on the wall. There was a clock on a plexiglass casing on the wall too. The food, they brought it out 3 meals a day. If you didn't want to eat the food, you didn't eat the food. Like, it wasn't very eating disorder friendly at all, because they wouldn't make you eat food. So like, if you didn't like the food and you didn't want to eat it, you didn't eat it. And then you just wouldn't eat for however long you're in there. And they can't really, I don't know, they weren't really equipped to like handle the eating disorder aspects. So a lot of people just like refused to eat, and they really didn't do anything about it. And that was rough. What else? Okay, so like everyone had a roommate. There were like these rooms, and it's like 2 beds per room. They have like this empty like cubby thing for you to put your stuff in. And then you get this one like little lightweight blanket. And the mattress is like plastic, and it's like on the floor. And it's just the 2 beds, the plastic beds on the floor, and then the 2 little cubby things for your stuff. They go through all your stuff, make sure none of it has buttons, zippers, anything like that. So that gets to stay with you. If you have anything that was like a watch or like a phone or whatever, they confiscate it and they keep it with them. And then there was a shower and like a bathroom. The bathroom was a toilet, it was a faucet, and then there was like a shower, but it was all behind like a curtain, because you could never close your door, because they just literally like didn't really have doors. So doors could not be closed. The bathroom curtains, people would come and like check on you if you're in the bathroom. You couldn't have your own toothpaste or toothbrush or hairbrush or anything like that. Every night they would give you a brown like a brown paper bag, and it would have a flimsy little toothbrush, some like, I don't know if it's like natural, it was like some toothpaste, it was like a little tube, and it was like non-toxic in case they wanted to like swallow it. We got a little bit of shampoo, a little bit of conditioner, and then like a little flimsy comb, and then you get 5 minutes to shower. If you're not out in 5 minutes, they go in and just make sure you haven't like hurt yourself or anything like that. And then you have to return all the stuff to them, and they count it and stuff and make sure that they have everything. So that was really stressful. 5-minute showers, otherwise people would like come in there, and it's just behind like this little curtain, and like, I don't know, the whole thing was just really stressful. I personally felt like I was a prisoner there, and it gave me so much anxiety because I couldn't leave. I couldn't go talk to my parents whenever I wanted. I was just alone there in that place with those people that I didn't really know, the people that were triggering and stuff like that. So it was just really bad for my anxiety. Like at night I would just sit there, like I would sit on that bed, And I would just like count to 100 over and over and over again, and like I couldn't fall asleep. I was so scared. And like they take your blood every day, make sure you're like okay, I guess. They'd give you the medication, and there was like a psychiatrist that could like modify your medication as well. And then they had like check-ins like 3 times a day, I believe. That was like you'd rate like your depression, your anxiety, like your suicidal ideation, how much you want to self-harm, stuff like that. And that would be like a nurse that you'd go through and do that, a registered nurse. Yeah, what else? I'm trying to think of like the things that are like you wouldn't expect. Like you can't go to the bathroom unless someone goes with you and stands right outside the thing. There's no hand soap. Like they will give you a little bit of soap after you go to the restroom, because people have tried to like, I guess, eat the soap, and it was, I don't know. So they give you a little bit of soap, but they come with you to go to the bathroom. There are no mirrors in there, which I didn't even really think about, but there are no mirrors because mirrors might be able to be broken, or they might like contribute to bad like self-image and stuff like that. So there weren't any mirrors there, which was weird to me. There weren't any doors really, except for the room that you ate and like did recreational stuff in. That room had a door and a lock, because they'd lock us in, and it would be like a tech was with us, and then the door would be locked, and the tech was the only one with the key, so that we'd all like, you know, stay in there and they could watch us and stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, they had like the fake chairs. They had in the rooms they had the double way mirror, I guess, so like that they could like see you in the room, but you couldn't like see them out of the room. It was like in the therapy room. It was weird. Yeah, really, it was just a really bad experience for me. I think I stayed in 2 days, and I just like cried and like begged my parents to take me out, because it was not a good environment for me. Because kids were like scratching and like trying to like harm themselves, and they were like so desperate to hurt themselves or to like kill themselves that they were trying anything. They would try anything. They were so desperate, and like it made me feel really uneasy. And I was like, I started to feel like desperate too. Like I would like wanted to scratch and stuff. I didn't, but I wanted to scratch too. And like I was just like on edge, uneasy like the whole time. I did not sleep very much at all. I was like way too nervous. I just sit in the bed and count to 100 over and over again, and the tech would come in and be like, are you not gonna go to sleep? And I'd be like, I can't, I'm really anxious. Yeah, so I did that. I really can't think of much else right now. I'm sorry this wasn't a very like put together video. Like I didn't really think it through, I guess. I didn't like plan it out. I was just like, okay, I'll just kind of like talk about like my experience and the things that happened. So yeah, that was kind of chaotic. I think I might do another one about what goes on in PHP, and then what goes on at IOP, because I feel like those were much more beneficial to me, and I can kind of explain like the process of each level of hospitalization, in case anybody's kind of like wondering like, oh, should I be inpatient? Should I go to PHP? Like, should I go to IOP? Should I just go to regular therapy? Like I'm gonna explain each one, I think. So this was inpatient. Inpatient is really just crisis aversion. They will do full detoxes on anyone that's like taking illegal drugs or anything like that. Anyone that's homicidal, suicidal, anyone that's a danger to themselves or others will be put in inpatient. And then inpatient is really just about keeping people alive. Like they're not gonna really work a whole lot on like coping skills and finding like the root of the problem and stuff like that. They're really just like crisis aversion. So if you feel like you're in crisis, like you might hurt yourself, you might hurt others, you're like self-harming, you're maybe addicted to drugs, anything like that, inpatient is really good to like reset, I guess. Like it helps you reset. They keep you there until they have evaluated like with multiple psychiatrists and therapists and your family and stuff. They will like evaluate and make sure that you are not a danger to yourself or others before they let you out. And then PHP is when they really start trying to get to the root of things and like the cause of the problems and stuff like that. And then IOP is intensive outpatient therapy. It's more like kind of transferring your skills and like coping and stuff from PHP to the outside world. So you kind of transition through all of them. Like inpatient is like all day, every day. PHP is 6 days a week, like 8 hours a day. And then IOP is 3 days a week, 3 hours a day. And so it kind of just like transitions you back into normal life. So yeah, sorry that was so chaotic. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always DM me on Instagram, leave them in the comments, email me any questions you might have. I hope this was helpful for anyone that's kind of like wondering like what goes on in there. It's really just a whole lot of crisis aversion. They do some process therapy, some like art therapy, stuff like that, but it's really just crisis aversion in there. So yeah, I will try to do another video about the PHP and then the IOP. I have a video up already about what it's like to be in an eating disorder hospital. Those are completely different, like so completely different. Yeah, so let me know if this helped you, if you have any more questions, anything like that. Sorry if this video was triggering. I try to make sure I like made a disclaimer at the beginning because it is kind of a touchy subject. So yeah, I hope you're all like doing all right. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I will come back with the videos about PHP and IOP. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.